Back to one of our top stories. The acting police minister, Firoz Cachalia, has criticized National Commissioner of Police for moving dockets related to political killings before an inquiry into corruption in the police has even begun its work. Fannie Masemola on Thursday announced that 121 dockets taken from KZN to Gauteng will now be returned to the province's task team. In a media statement, Cachalia says he's concerned by this move. The minister also says the political killings task team is at the center of the allegations that made the KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in July. Let's talk about this with DA MP and member of the Portfolio Committee on Police, that's Lisa-Maré Schickerling. Now, Lisa, the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, as we start into the SAPS operations, has had a firm deadline of 31st of October 2025. Maybe let's start from this. From the DA's perspective, how critical is timely delivery of this report, and what risks emerge if Parliament fails to meet this deadline? Good evening.
Good evening, and Nhlanhla, to you and all the viewers tonight. Thank you very much. You know, we are very concerned about the fact that we are at the beginning of September already. We haven't had one meeting yet besides the meetings that we had to discuss the terms of reference. And the deadline is the 31st of October. I do not foresee us reaching that deadline at all, considering the fact that we haven't interviewed anybody yet. We were supposed to be informed today, actually, of when the first meeting would take place with the Police Commission and Mkhwanazi, which we haven't received any information for. And I think the longer we delay, the longer it erodes public trust, because this is a matter of national importance. There's so many people that are waiting to see what action gets taken, and they have a vested interest. There are criminals out on the streets that are waging war in South Africa. There are victims of crime that want to see an outcome. And the longer we take, the longer it erodes the trust that the public has in the SAPS.
So the DA has called for a full and transparent report, just to take from your remarks, from the committee, naming implicated individuals and providing timelines and evidence as well. Let's speak to this. In your view, what must meaningful transparency actually look like in this case? And what would fall short?
So obviously we would like the meetings to be public. And unless it is a circumstance where there is serious whistleblowers, and we have to protect the whistleblowers, and we really do ask anybody that has information to come forth with it so that we can have their matters investigated properly. But with all the commissions that have taken, and I want to use the Zondo Commission as an example, there were recommendations made, but nobody ever acted on those recommendations. So part of the full transparency is if recommendations come out at our committee, we would like action to be taken about these recommendations, and we actually want to see prosecutions come out of this.
Your party, the DA, is also urging that any criminal findings, whether obstruction or corruption, be referred immediately to the NPA, you mentioned the SIU or IPID. Should this be done even before the Judicial Commission completes its work?
Well, you know, we don't have much time. So I must tell you that I think while the investigation is ongoing, these charges of corruption should be laid at the police, and they should then get the necessary information that they require in order for it to be prosecuted correctly. And during that time, obviously, the commission that the president set up then should get that information too, and it should be a concurrent process.
Let's go back to the beginning point of our discussion. Minister Cachalia has flagged concerns that operational steps like docket returns, they are being taken before the Judicial Commission concludes its inquiry. From your position, or from the oversight position, how should SAPS then, or SAPS operations, be balanced with the legal due process, if you will?
Look, regarding the 121 dockets, we do welcome the fact that they were sent back, because they should never have been removed in the first place. It was never the minister at that time, Senzo Mchunu, prerogative to close the political killings task team and to give instruction that the dockets be removed. So we welcome the fact that the dockets are given back. Part of that is because we have to make sure that the investigation continues in these dockets. So we are also hoping, and it gives us a sense that this is a step towards restoring investigations and to see a continuity. But we are concerned about the dockets, where have they been? And this is part of what the ad hoc committee has to investigate. Where have the dockets been? Have they been tampered with? Has any evidence been removed from them? So while we welcome the fact that they've been returned, we'd also like to know, as part of the ad hoc committee, and I don't speak on behalf of the ad hoc committee, but I speak on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, is that we'd like to know what's happened to the dockets in the meantime, because it is a concern that they were removed. Why were they removed? Is it for political reasons? What was the motive behind removing them?
Let's explore this theme. The chair of the ad hoc committee is from the ANC. The EFF and Action SA have raised concerns about political bias. What safeguards would the DA then support to ensure that this investigation is indeed impartial and credible as well?
Well, I mean, obviously we've gone through the terms of reference ad nauseum. We've had a lot of time to go through them. Everybody had the opportunity to add to the terms of reference, and I think they are good terms of reference. So from that, we'll have to make sure that the investigations are done properly once we do have these interviews with everybody, that the information gets produced properly, and that there's an outcome at the end of the day, because that's all that we want to see. We want to see justice take its course. We want to see the perpetrators behind bars, and we want to see the criminals actually face the full might of the law. And then obviously the people that are affected by this, the families of the people that have lost their lives and that have been involved with severe corruption, that they see justice.
Yeah. Lisa, before we close, we want to acknowledge the recent incident in which you were attacked. Without pressing on personal details, how are you coping? And has this experience shaped or even deepened your understanding of even the risks faced by public officials and those working to hold powerful institutions accountable in this country?
Yeah, so I mean, it was a shock. And obviously, I think it's a traumatic event that took place. But it is something that we also have to acknowledge happens to thousands of South Africans every day. I mean, I recently had a Facebook post, and I'm very grateful that we came out unarmed. I could go home that evening, and my family could see me. 70 to 80 other people that night, families did not have that same opportunity. So obviously, you know, you do feel that crime affects everybody. And I think people sometimes look at us and they think that we're not normal South Africans, but it affects us too. We are just normal South Africans that are actually trying to do our job. And part of that is oversight. And it's not going to deter us. In actual fact, I think it's given us more of a scope of how hard we have to work so that we can ensure that South Africa is a safer place for everybody, because it's completely unacceptable that these are things that we just take as norm. People seem to be so desensitized about the crime that's going on in our country, and it shouldn't be that way. We should acknowledge that it's happening, and we should together as a community, in actual fact, and as a country, take a stand and say, we've had enough of crime, and we're going to stand up towards it, and we're going to fight back, and we're going to take back our country and make sure that we get rid of the crime and corruption so that we can live in a better South Africa.
Thank you so much for reflecting with us this evening. That is DA MP and member of the Portfolio Committee on Police, Lisa-Maré Schickerling. Now, today's discussion underscores that timely, transparent and independent oversight is essential to restore SAPS's credibility. Now, the public deserves justice, not just political